Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. We are truly blessed to have you with us tonight. Good evening. My name is Renner Larson, and I'm the Communications Director for CARE Chicago. Before I introduce tonight's film, I want to share with you a quick story. I Googled myself the other day, and I found a blog that reposted a video that I had made at CARE. This video, I explained and defended the rights of women who choose to wear the hijab. And the people in this particular corner of the internet were not very enthusiastic about this. In their comments, they called me a traitor, an unintelligent, parasitic terrorist sympathizer, and a disgrace to America. Now, to be honest, I wasn't entirely surprised by this. Unfortunately, hateful rhetoric has become all too commonplace these days. But I want to make one thing clear. Defending the inherent dignity of every person, regardless of their race, creed, or country of origin, is not and never will be a disgrace to America. It is the definition of America. The ideals set forth by our founders do not mince words. And when politicians and pundits describe an America that spews hate and excludes certain people from the rights that we are granted, I don't know what America they're describing, because that's not the one described in our Constitution. I wish that they could stand at the top of Trump Tower in downtown Chicago and look up 340 feet above them and see the top of the Willis Tower, designed by Fazlur Khan, a proud Muslim American, and still try and make the argument that he should have been banned from this country purely because of his religion. And would they also ban Anousheh Ansari because she proudly wore the American flag on her uniform when she became the first Muslim woman in space? Diversity makes this country what it is. Our diversity makes us strong. And the ideals that inspired our founders still draw new generations today. Among them was Ahmed Hamid, a young filmmaker from Gaza. Ahmed chronicles and seeks out stories of disenfranchised people for whom he notes justice is neither fair nor equitable. He knows the pain of people who are underrepresented or not represented at all. That is why he seemed the perfect choice to direct this year's film. I'm happy that he is with us here tonight. This year's film highlights the fears and hopes of young American Muslims. They are our next Fazlur Khans and Anousheh Ansaris, and if we're lucky, maybe there's even a Linda Sarsour or two. But we're proud to introduce them, because it is for the next generation that we face today's challenges. And so if we could get the lights, please. I present the CARE Chicago documentary for 2016, Up for the Challenge.
A shocking triple murder in the college town of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. All three victims were Muslim.
CARE says the latest threat came today in a call to their offices, with the caller claiming they would kill their, quote, terrorist friends. And in recent weeks, a school, a mosque, even an innocent woman driving on the road have become targets of vicious threats.
This religion teaches that women should be raped for showing their face.
A Sikh American was brutally assaulted on a street outside Chicago earlier this week. The attacker, who apparently mistook the man for a Muslim, repeatedly punched him in the face after calling him Osama bin Laden.
A 14-year-old aspiring engineer from Texas arrested after his teacher thought a homemade clock he brought to school looked like a bomb.
Do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation.
In the northwest suburbs, a pair of hate-filled flyers targeting Muslims.
Keep out. That's the message from governors in half of America who oppose accepting new Syrian refugees in their states.
Several Middle Eastern passengers were taken off a Baltimore flight.
The suspicious male passenger watching the news on his phone.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
We all have to be able to
speak about this and say, America's not going to go down that path. Keep America great. Keep this guy out.
Up for the challenge.
The executive director of Chicago's Council on American Islamic Relations says our founding fathers would probably say, how about maintaining the Constitution? And in this country, we don't outlaw religion or races, just criminal activity.
Donald Trump is just sort of the tip of the iceberg, and that there's a larger problem in this country, and that is the conflating Islam with terrorism, conflating terrorism with Islam, and not being able to understand that Islam is a faith practiced by 1.6 billion people peacefully, and that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are groups that are essentially cults that are aberrational, not within the normative mainstream, but in the radical fringe that most Muslims around the world condemn and are victims of.
I have to go into a room, I have to be confident about myself. I put myself to a higher standard because I know whatever I do, I'm going to be judged as Muslim and it's going to reflect on my religion.
None of the arguments that are used against Islam and Muslims in America are based on actual facts.
This girl comes up to me and she asked me, wait, we've been friends for like 2 months now, so can you tell me, like, are you Mexican or are you Indian? And I go like, wait, I'm not Mexican or Indian, I'm Muslim and I'm Arabic. And she goes like, wait, you're Muslim? Okay, no, you know what, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore.
A lot of people say like you're Muslim, it doesn't have to be one certain country or skin tone, which means that Islam can be all over the whole entire world.
I fear that the future for us Muslims will probably just get worse. Like with the whole presidential election, like I hear what he's saying, what Trump plans on for like us Muslims, and I'm just, that frightens me. Like I don't want, you know, worse things happening.
I remember being little, watching TV. The only Muslims or the only Arabs I would ever see on TV were always the terrorists. As a little kid, we feel the media and we learn from it. And I was learning the wrong things. Just hearing these like really, really racist things coming from supposedly educated people, it really makes me scared.
Last week, when a guy that looked like me with a name like mine walked into a Planned Parenthood and started shooting, nobody judged me for his actions. And that's a double standard.
Do you think that there's some people that just look at you and see a terrorist or a potential terrorist because of what's gone on in the world?
Absolutely.
What is that like living like that, day in and day out?
You've seen too often people conflating the horrific acts of terrorism with the beliefs of an entire faith. And of course, recently we've heard inexcusable political rhetoric against Muslim Americans that has no place in our country.
And what I would want the public to know is that you need to be able to understand the difference between the normative mainstream Muslim community, your doctors, your engineers, your lawyers, your students, your professors, your cab drivers, your grocery shop owners, everyday people who practice Islam the way that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, preached it, and those who are politically motivated, who hide under the cloak of religion in order to further their very narrow political radical agenda.
I want to be an amazing entrepreneur and computer programmer.
I'm going to become an amazing teacher.
I'm going to be a successful business owner.
An astounding lawyer.
An amazing ultrasound technician.
An independent nurse.
An extraordinary physician.
A successful dentist.
I want to be a skillful interior designer.
I'm going to be a tremendous anesthesiologist.
I believe in Care Chicago because I think it is important to have a group of people fighting any injustice that an American Muslim might face.
People can have like a new outlook on Islam, because right now like the media sees Islam as such a bad thing, and with Care Chicago they can actually learn more about Islam and its peaceful ways.
We all need a legal platform that would stand up for the rights of a minority that is looked down upon in the media.
I believe in Care Chicago because it represents me.
If we're still worried, if we still have anxiety, if we still think we may not make it, then we don't really believe, because Allah's promise is clear. Believe, understand, and you will be secure. Your heart will be secure. You will no longer fear. You will go out there. You will take on anybody in the proper way possible. One person can make a huge difference. A community can make endless differences. We have to get out of the bubble. We have to engage in interfaith. Be the one to influence how they think of who you are. Be who you are.
Peace, hope,
Faith.
confidence, strength, facts,
Justice.
community,
Tireless.
honor,
Truth, unity,
Compassion.
love.
we can only do this together.